So this week you have a pretty easy topic. It is adding and subtracting polynomials. Today we're just working on adding. Basically, a polynomial is a fancy way of saying that you have a bunch of terms with a bunch of different exponents added or subtracted together. Today, if you notice, in between the parentheses, we're only going to be dealing with plus signs because we are only adding the polynomials. Tomorrow, or if you notice, it's probably going to be today because it's going to be the same sleeve in the video. We're going to work on subtracting. So the first thing you're always going to do is you are going to look for the highest exponent. So if you look here, your exponents, as you know, are your little numbers. You have a 2, technically that's a 1, technically there's an x to the 0th, that's just a constant, a 3, a 2, a 1, and a constant. So your 3 is your biggest exponent. Now, do I have any other x to the thirds in this whole problem? I do not. So I'm going to drop that down and I'm writing it first, because you always start with your highest exponent. Now, we're going to look for the next highest exponent. In this case, we are going to go to a 2. So if you notice, I have 2x squared, and I can assume that's positive because there's no negative in front of it. Is there any other x squared in this problem? Yes, it is. Now, if you notice, there's a sign in front of it, so I'm going to circle the number and the sign. Now you combine this just like you combine any other like terms. What's 2 plus 7? Hopefully you said 9. And as you know, you always need a symbol, and you know your 9 is positive, so there's going to be a plus sign there. When you are adding and subtracting, you never actually change your exponents. You just drop them down. So now I go to my next highest exponent. In that case, it's just going to be x. So if you notice, I have a positive 2x here. Is there any other x? Yes, I have a positive 4x. So combine them. If I have 4 x's and I add it to 2 x's, I get 6 x's. And last but not least, we have our constants. Your constants are always last. If I had, I don't know what else to do, I'll do a triangle, a positive 1 and a negative 9. What's 1 minus 9? Negative 8. So when you add these polynomials together, this is what you get. Basically, all you're doing is combining like terms. You're just using more exponents than you've ever used before. So the next one, we know we're adding because there's a plus sign. Look for your highest exponent. Where is it? Here it is. Circle it. We have x to the 4th. Is there any other x to the 4th? No, there is not, so you drop it down. Move on, my next highest exponent. I see 2. So I have 4x squared. Is there any other x squareds? Well, I see a negative 6x squared, but I also see a negative 4x squared. And notice how all of my boxes have the signs if there's a sign before the number. Yours should too. So combine. What's negative 4 plus 4? Hopefully you said 0. And what's 0 minus 6? Negative 6. Drop down your exponent. And your next highest, again, in this case, we don't have any x's. We just go to our constants. We have a 2, which we know is positive because there's no sign here. And we also have a positive 8. What's 2 plus 8? 10. So again, all we did was combine our like terms. All right, we're gonna do 3 more together. You're gonna do 2 on your own, and we are done. So highest exponent, what do I got? Hopefully you said x cubed. Is there any other x cubes besides the one I circled? Yep. What is -9 plus 9? Hopefully you said 0. So all we do is cross that off. Do not write 0x cubed. That is not pretty. That will not get you 100. Your next exponent, or highest exponent, is -9x squared. Is there any other x squared in this problem? Yep. What's -9 plus 9? Oh my gosh. It's 0, so cross it off. Now we have a -9x. Is there any other plain x in the problem? Here we go, +9x. What's -9 plus 9? 0. Now we can't just leave the answer to our problem blank, so in this case, our answer is 0. Next one, if you notice, we have 3 sets of parentheses, but there's still plus signs in between them all. Do the same that you normally do. Start with your highest exponent. The first highest one I see is this guy. -6x squared. Is there any other x squared in the problem? Yep. We know that this is positive because there's no sign in front of it. So what's 4 minus 6, or 4 plus -6? -2. Drop down your x squared. My next highest one, we have +4x. Is there any other x? 7x, but again, we know this is positive because there's no sign there. What's 4 plus 7? 11. And drop down your x. And then we have our constants. We got a 7 here that we know is positive. Any other constants? Yep, 7 plus 2 is 9. So that is our final answer. Now this one, I am going to change slightly. Hold on, don't write it down. I'm gonna make this a 6 just because I want to show you something. All right, look for your highest exponent. Hopefully you said it was x squared. Circle both of them. Now we have 6 minus 6, which we know is 0. Go to your next highest exponent. In this case, we have x's. Is there anything that goes with -4x? Nope, so drop it down. And last but not least, always your constants. We have a +4 and a +15. What's 4 plus 15? 19. Did I write that correctly? No, because what do I need? A plus sign. You always need some sort of sign in between your problems. So one thing to point out, when these went away, we crossed them off, but there's other stuff to drop down. The only time that you write the 0 is when everything goes away. So because everything crossed off, we had to write a 0 in our final answer. We didn't have to do it here because other stuff came down. All right, you are going to do these 2 on your own. And that guy, I forgot a parenthesis. So for this first one, you should have combined. Ooh, that's negative, so you would have gotten -14x squared. you would have combined those to get 8x, and combine those to get -3, because it's -10 plus 7. For the second one, you would have combined 6 minus 6 goes to 0. Then you have -7x and 8x. -7, we know this is a plus 8 because there's no sign, is 1x. And -5 plus 2 is -3.